This is Carolina Haints. Carolina Haints presents Folk, a show about our stories. I'm your host, Dan Sellers. There's a little island off the coast of South Carolina near what we know today as Murrells Inlet that goes by a peculiar name. I'll tell you more about that later, but first the story. This is a pirate tale, and not just any pirate tale. Yes, dear listeners, this is a Blackbeard story. We've covered a few great stories about the famed pirate on Carolina Haints, but this involves one of his men. This takes place during the heyday of Blackbeard's reign of terror between the Carolinas and the Caribbean. Blackbeard's crew was infamous for ravaging and plundering cargo ships all up and down the coast, leaving death and destruction in their wake, taking with them that most precious commodity, rum. One of the pirates was so fond of the drink that the men came to call him Drunken Jack. He could always outdrink the other men, and whenever a keg or bottle was being opened, he was there to take part. Well, for pirates who were always looking to get their hands on some liquor, let's just say that Blackbeard's men had hit the jackpot. They were able to take down a transport ship in the Caribbean and loaded down the Queen Anne's Revenge with cask after cask of rum. In fact, as they sailed northbound, it became apparent that it was actually weighing them down a bit. Not only that, word of other big scores were circulating. Blackbeard made the decision to offload the majority of the rum for the time being. They would find a remote, deserted island, somewhere tucked away, hard to find, and they would bury their treasure. But believe me, there was so much rum, they didn't just bury it, they also decided to drink as much of it as they could. So they found their little island near Georgetown, dug some holes, caught a ton of oysters and crabs, and spent the night eating and drinking like kings over a roaring bonfire. The pirates all overindulged, especially Drunken Jack. The next morning, with full bellies and buzzing heads, Blackbeard's men embarked back south, leaving their Caribbean treasure on the small deserted island. There were no definitive plans to come back at any point. I mean, they were pirates after all. They flew by the seat of their pants and followed the orders of their ruthless leader. So when he said to sail toward their next target, that'd be what they did. The problem was, Drunken Jack was so drunk that he didn't wake up in time to leave. Surely someone would have realized that they left Jack behind. But again, these weren't exactly honorable and caring men. Once Jack had awoken and come to his senses, realizing he was marooned, it was too late for the Queen Anne's Revenge to come back for him. I'd like to tell you that Drunken Jack, the castaway, became Resourceful Jack or Survivor Jack, and figured out a way to stay alive on his own. But Jack did what perhaps you might expect. He got to digging. He dug up the casks and expended his energy in removing every last bottle from the sand. So let's fast forward a few years. Blackbeard's finally got some free time on his hands between holding Charlestown hostage and palling around with the North Carolina governor. He finally brought his men back to the small island where they accidentally abandoned their friend Jack. They didn't know what to expect. Would he still be there, thriving? Would he have managed to get off? What they found, well, maybe they could have predicted. They found the open casks and bottle after empty bottle of the Caribbean rum, sparkling in the sun lying between and around the sun-bleached skeleton of Drunken Jack. Oh yeah, and check out the area on the map. Maybe you'll see for yourself that island's been given the name Drunken Jack Island. Of course, his spirit is said to still haunt the island. If you happen to be in Murrells Inlet, perhaps on the marsh walk, and see a drunk-looking fellow, maybe offer him a drink. This episode was brought to you by Recap Productions and Carolina Haints Incorporated, a non-profit organization dedicated to promoting folklore storytelling throughout the Carolinas. You can find everything we're up to, including the Carolina Haints book, podcast episodes, and speaking engagements at our website, carolinahaints.com. We'll be back later this year with Season 3 of Folk. Tune in then to keep the tradition of oral storytelling alive.